Good job, good job. Good job, good job. GOODJOB, good job, good job. What's up, everybody? Uncle Keith is in the building. Yes, welcome to another episode of Uncle Keith's Corner, right here on Historically Black Sense, the premier platform for everything HBCU. When you think about platforms that engage HBCUs and HBCU culture, then look no further than Historically Black Sense. Keith L. Brown, Uncle Keith, Mr. Impossible is here. And as always, I have to give a shout out to our founder and our visionary, advocating, ascending Adrena Martin, who has made the vision plain and she has made it possible. Thus, millions are being ignited, delighted, and empowered by Historically Black Sense. Well, you know, it is a wonder-filled Wednesday. On yesterday, you had a tremendous Tuesday. And on Monday, you had My Optimism Now Declares a Yes. Boom! My Optimism Now declares a yes. On tomorrow, you're going to have a trailblazing Thursday. Then you're going to have a fabulously favored Friday, a soaring Saturday, and a serenity-filled Sunday where nothing is going to disturb your peace of mind and spirit. And whatever platform you're watching on tonight, whether it's StreamYard or YouTube or Facebook, I need y'all to hashtag the following: don't lease your peace. That's don't lease your Peace. Don't lease your peace. Somebody needs to hashtag that right now. Y'all, I'm just so excited. I am so excited to be here. And before I go any further, our hearts and prayers go out to the families, the school district, the entire community of Oxford, Michigan, in the wake of another senseless school shooting. And my guest and I tonight, we travel around to school districts nationally and globally, as well as colleges and universities, government agencies, family advocacy agencies, and the corporate and entertainment arenas. And listen, when we go into these school districts, we attempt to set the climate and culture that will prevent such senseless tragedies. But on yesterday, there was another school shooting. 3 scholars, ages 14, 16, and 17, were murdered. Others were injured. And we are just keeping the entire township of Oxford, Michigan, right outside of Detroit, where we have a lot of clients in Detroit and Mount Pleasant. Shout out to Central Michigan University and the Impact program. I know you're on the grounds with this. I know you're on the front lines with this, comforting the entire Oxford, Michigan community. Another senseless tragedy. And we have to continue to love on our young people, to give them the social, emotional learning that they deserve, and just be there and stand in the gap for them. And my guest and I, we do that, like I said, nationally and globally. So shout out and our prayers to everyone in Oxford, Michigan, especially Oxford High School. We send our love, we send our prayers on behalf of Historically Black Sense and Uncle Keith's Corner. And on a lighter note and some great news that I got on today. I was just listen, y'all, we have a legislative conference going on right here downtown in the state of Georgia. And listen, as a director of external affairs in the Georgia Senate, I am so happy to announce that, yes, significant Stacey Abrams is running for governor here in the state of Georgia. We're just excited about that. It doesn't matter what your party is. We're just excited because of the work that she has done. Fresh perspectives, listen, and everything that she has done, you understand, to combat voter suppression and just to get everyone out there registered and get everybody voting. And so in the great state of Georgia, listen, we are on fire tonight because Stacey Abrams is going to run for governor here in the state of Georgia. So listen, we're excited about that. We have so much to share. You know, during the holidays, this is a time where everyone is happy and jovial, but there's so many more who are in a mode of melancholy. They are sad. There are so many more who are just going through on a daily basis, not just because of the pandemic called COVID-19, but the pandemic of systemic racism, the pandemic of hopelessness, the pandemic of social injustice, the pandemic of unrest, the pandemic of unhealed and unresolved issues in family. So we have so many pandemics, but guess what? We're going to have a lot of solutions tonight because my guest, man, I'm so honored to have my little brother in the building right here on Uncle Keith's Corner. So listen, you go ahead and text a friend, call a friend. Don't y'all go nowhere. Shout out to Beverly Ricks Howell. Happy birthday to Beverly Ricks Howell. Happy 66th birthday, one of our dear family members and matriarchs. We love you here at Uncle Keith's Corner on Historically Black Sense. Don't y'all go nowhere. I need y'all to stay with us the entire hour, and I promise you, you will be motivated. Yes, you will be elevated. You will be stimulated. You will get transformation, but we're going to give you the tools to do the implementation. Don't y'all go anywhere. Uncle Keith's Corner will be right back. Yes, we are back. We are back. We are back and we are black. Hey, we are back and we are black. Historically Black Sense. And tonight we are free-ish. Because I'm telling you, what we're going to be talking about tonight, we're going to help you free your mind, free your spirit, free your soul. We're going to be talking about all of that on tonight. And so listen, I want to bring forth a gentleman who I've known for the last decade, and I've watched him rise in this speaking game to go from local and statewide to nationally renowned and now international. So he's internationally known, he's nationally recognized, he's locally accepted. He is a highly regarded international speaker who talks about unleashing your purpose. And he has worked with dozens of prominent companies throughout the United States and organizations such as Toyota and FedEx and the National Guard. And listen, he has brought his academic expertise because he has a PhD in counselor education, and he has brought his education expertise to HBCUs all across the country, as well as the University of Michigan, UCLA, and countless school districts across the world. And you might remember him when you saw him on Love and Hip Hop, as well as Iyanla Fix My Life. Well, tonight he's here to help fix some of your lives. I want you to stand up wherever you are and give it up for my little brother, the man of the hour, Dr. Jubilant, Justified, Joe Johnson with the Joe Johnson Group. Bring him in the studio. What up, bruh? Yeah.
Man,
With purpose. G-O-O-D-J-O-B. Good job. I said G-O-O-D-J-O-B. Good job. Yeah,
listen, nobody can do an introduction like you. So one, I appreciate you for just paving the way for individuals like me, because I've watched you since I've known you. So I just got to say thank you so much for allowing me to grace the stage, virtual, wherever we are. Thank you for allowing me to be here with you tonight.
Man, listen, it's an honor because I watched you from the beginning. And you were already making moves behind the scene. And you know, the issue is this. So many people, they see you blow up, right? And they like, man, Dr. Joe, man, you blew up, man. You blew up overnight. No, you didn't blow up you didn't blow up overnight. You've been grinding, brother. You have been grinding for many years. I've been grinding. So when people see us on television or radio, they're like, man, this is not an overnight process. I've been grinding. I've been grinding at this professionally for over 20 years. And I know what we have on the platform tonight. I know what my viewers and my listeners are in store for, what Historically Black is in store for tonight. You got Malcolm X over one shoulder, you got Kobe Bryant over the other. Listen, man, listen. Oh, man, it's amazing, man. We thank God for you, man. We thank God for your family. And listen, Doc, if you want to share anything that I did not share, because listen, we know that you're an awesome husband, man. You're an awesome husband, awesome father. You know, you are a father, Father, not a Farther. That's what I love about you, brother. So go ahead, man. And then we're going to get this show on and popping tonight. Don't leash your peace. And guess what? I want the listeners to know tonight, we're going to talk about the following topic. Watch this. Y'all listening? Y'all ready? What's stealing your healing? We're going to get it tonight. Listen, what's stealing your healing? This is the healing doctor right now. And I'm going to throw it out before he says anything. He has a healing empowerment symposium seminar coming up on December the 4th. Listen, y'all need to go ahead and get signed up. He's going to give you his social media later, but y'all need to get signed up because the seats are going fast. And this is the last one of 202 WON 2021. And you all definitely, when you hear this brother tonight, you're going to be running to sign up. So go ahead, brother.
Yeah, so let me just say this. You know, I always share with people that everything that I do has to do with unleashing your purpose, right? A lot of us, we talk about discovering our purpose or finding our purpose. I tell people, you don't find your purpose, you don't discover your purpose. If you understand the spiritual connection to purpose, it's already in you. Therefore, you unleash your purpose, right? And I always share with others that when it comes to purpose, we have to understand that our purpose and our profit is directly connected to our individual healing. And because so many of us have been through so much trauma, we've had so many bad experiences in our lives, we try to run away from what we've been through, but we're all recovering from our childhoods. So it's so important for us to deal what we need to deal with internally so that we can win outwardly and be more than free-ish. We want to be free holistically.
Listen, y'all, I need to go get a shirt now that says free holistically. Do you understand? Brother just taught me and said, you don't just want to be free-ish, okay? You want to be free holistically. And that's what he's all about. That's what he's all about. So listen, when you think about healing, man, there's so many different definitions out there for healing. And we know that healing is not only needed, but deserved throughout the land. How does Dr. Joe Johnson define healing? I don't care about Wikipedia or Webster, okay? Because they're not on the platform tonight. I got Dr. Joe on the platform tonight, okay? So at the end of the day, how would you define healing?
You know, when I think about healing, the first thing that I think about is how so often the word automatically is connected to anything physical. And for so long, everything was about, you know, did I break my arm, or I have a headache, or, you know, a heart attack, and all of those are critical. We got to take care of that. But what a lot of people don't know is that stress often causes us to end up with a lot of these physical ailments. Right. And so what I want you to understand, number one, is that there is some internal work that there's things going on inside of you, because many of us are walking around smiling. We have a nice car. We have a nice home. We have nice clothes. Right. Everybody thinks we're OK. But in reality, we're broken. But we don't want to admit that. So there's some internal work that has to be done. So when I think of the word healing, I think of how are you in those parts of you that people can't see? Right? How are you right here? Right? How are you right here? How are you right here? Your mindset, your heart set, and your soul set. So when I think about healing, it's not just the physical, but more importantly, the internal work. Have you done that? So what's going on with you in the inside?
Wow, that's powerful, man. Listen, ooh, I told y'all. Listen, didn't I tell y'all? I told y'all. What I didn't tell y'all was to put your seatbelts on. So you better put your seatbelts on. Did you not hear what Dr. Joe just said? In other words, he said, it's your internal. It's your internal that counts the most. You know, you and I are famous for telling young people it's not what's on you, it's what's in you that counts, right? And so a lot of times, you said that, we deal with the external. We, like you said, the materialism, And everybody on social media wants to outdo the next person. And one of the terms that I coined is that everybody's publicly balling, but privately falling. So
don't hurt them. Don't
come
hurt
on
them.
now. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. A lot of folk out there, man, they are publicly balling, but privately falling. Why is there such an emphasis on valuables and not values? Or why are we defined based on the cars, the clothes, the external? Why is that so important, more so than the internal that you spoke about?
When I think about just history, and I love history, and I love to read about history, not from what traditional education tells you to read, but I love to go seek, right? And I love to have conversation with people who are older than me. They're more seasoned than me. They've been around, because there's one thing about our Native American brothers and sisters: they pass down stories, right? And so let me just take this to history. A lot of times we want things that we could not have, right? And I remember talking to my grandfather, who, rest in peace, Dr. Donnie Sims, Pastor Donnie Sims. But one of the things that he said to me one time, we were eating, because I would always go eat with my grandfather. And he said to me, he said, "You know what I always wanted?" And I was like, what is that? What is that? And I was listening. I mean, remember, he's a pastor now. And I was like, what? And he paused and he said, "A white woman." I said, "Oh, what?" I didn't understand where he was going, but he said back then we could not have them at all. We couldn't date white. And it wasn't that he was super attractive, but he wanted something that he knew he couldn't have. And when he had the opportunity to go to one's house when they asked him to go, he said, "Absolutely not, because if your father finds me, he'll hang me." So when I think about that question, I think about the fact that historically we haven't been able to have things as Black people, right? And now we have the capability to get certain things, but now we're defining ourselves by what we have, not who we are. And we've grown up with a lot of values, because oftentimes that's all we had historically. But now it's important for us to actually show things for some reason. And I've learned in my process that I need to be grateful for what I have. I don't need the cars or the big homes. That'd be nice if that comes, but that does not define me. And some people, they want to look the part rather than be the part. I'd rather feel good on the inside and have things on the outside, but I don't do what I do for the money and material things. I operate in purpose. And if the money comes and cars and nice homes comes, I'm okay.
Man, we love that. I love that. And one of the things I know about you is, and know about me, man, we love what we do so much. We love it so much that we would do it for free, but we attempt to do it so well that they pay us for it.
That's that right.
Let me say that again. I'm gonna tell y'all. Let me talk to y'all out there, entrepreneurs. Listen to me. Let me help heal your psyche right now and change your paradigm. When you are truly unleash your purpose, whatever your passion is, whatever your purpose is, you love it so much that you would do it for free, but you seek to do it so well that they pay you for it, that they invest in you, and that your gift will make room for you. That is so powerful. And shout out to your grandfather, your legendary grandfather, who wasn't just a legend in Milwaukee, but in the Midwest, but nationwide. And I just want you to know, man, that there are brothers and sisters watching you in the great state of Wisconsin as well. But brother, with whether it was Brother Blake or the Rittenhouse kid, man, we just got so much tragedy going on in Wisconsin. And, we do a lot of work in the state of Wisconsin, man. And ironically, I don't do a lot of work just in Milwaukee and Madison. I do a lot of work down in places like Appleton and Kimberly, you understand, and Green Bay and places like that. And so where, a lot of the population doesn't look like us, but we still heal them too. And we give them hope too, and some of the guests, man, some of the listeners, they're chiming in right now saying, "Dr. Joe, you are the truth." Well, brother, listen, got to say this, man. Millions saw you on Iyanla Fix My Life. Okay. We saw you, your beautiful family. And Doc, you were so transparent, man. I mean, you just bared it all. I mean, you just let it all out. You were so transparent. Congratulations to your parents who were remarried recently, man. So we love mom and pops. You already know, So what was that experience like? And what, number one, what was the experience like being on it, a Yonla Fix My Life and getting transparent and working on your own healing? That's number one. And number two, why are Black men so hesitant to show their emotions? Yeah. Number one, tell us about your experience on the Yonla Fix My Life and how you healed and were so transparent. And number two, why are we as Black men so hesitant to show our emotions?
Yeah. So first thing, let me just shout out my family. My mother and father got remarried after 27 years of being divorced. And I believe what sparked that was my family being on the show. Shout out to my sister Shay, my brother MJ, my partner, my wife, Dr. Brandy, who's a psychologist, and she went to Clark. So, she's an HBCU grad as well.
That's right.
She is. So, I get a little preference just because of her. But let me just say this. That was being on that show was one of the first times, and I can be very honest with you, that I committed to someone else's process. See, when you grow up in what many would call low income or in the urban area, we know what that means. But when you grow up in that and you're conditioned how to navigate and operate in that space, you're conditioned how to move when you're in survival mode. And what happens to a lot of us is we forget that as we get older and we evolve and maybe we go off to college or maybe we get jobs, we have families, whatever, we forget that we are no longer in survival mode, but we still operate as though we are. And therefore we miss out and we lose and things happen to us and we're trying to figure out why. We have to understand that as we evolve, how we think and how we act must evolve as well. Right. And so for me, going on that show, I had to commit to someone else's process. Right. And just say, you know what, I'm gonna be free. I'm gonna be transparent, authentic. And that's what I did. So doing that for the first time, it actually felt good. And I believe that because I did it, my brother was open. Right. My partner, she was open. My mother opened up. Right. And my sister opened up. Y'all didn't get to see some of that. But what I will say is being on that show helped me to be more transparent because I was never like that before, but I gave it to the world and so many people said, man, thank you so much. So to answer your first question, it was a great experience. And it's not that I got healed, it's that it started my process because healing is a continuous process.
Before you answer the next question, I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you clarified that. Do y'all understand how my little brother just clarified that? When I said you were healed and my little brother said what? He said, no, I was not healed. But it was the beginning. It was the catalyst for my healing. And Black men, although my brother had to lovingly correct me, I'm not going to curse him out on the platform. All right. I'm not going to call him out of his name. Okay. I'm not going to call him the N-word because that's not who he is. He's a king. Okay. And I don't care if you spell it Nigger, Nigga. I don't care how you spell it. That's not who he is. That's not who we are. And so I'm not going to hate on my brother because he lovingly corrected me. See, that's a part of the healing as well. When you surround yourself with people who are willing to correct you, that's who you need to embrace the most. And sometimes it's going to be uncomfortable, but everybody and everything that makes you feel good is not your friend. And everybody and everything that makes you feel bad is not your enemy. And that's my brother's experience. And he said it was the catalyst for the healing. And so he corrected me. I'm not looking to beat him up now. You understand? I'm not looking to call him weak or call him out his name or anything like that. See, a part of the healing for Black men, man, we just got to love on each other. We got to love on each other and be willing to correct each other. And I'm so happy that brother did that. I'm not going to have an emotional fit now. All right. Because my brother did that. So go ahead, brother.
And let me say this too, because what I've noticed is that the narrative, when people, maybe they go get a therapist or maybe they do some type of healing work, they say, okay, I've heard this many times, I'm healed. And that's not the case because you may have done some work in an area that you needed. However, this is a constant process because the one variable that we can never take into consideration is how we're going to evolve as people, as humans, as individuals, as a Black man, as a Black woman, whoever you are, right? And so the reason I said that is to make sure that the narrative is, I'm in a constant, listen, I am a masterpiece and a work in progress at the same time, right? And that's what it's about. Healing, even when you're good, you still have work to do. when you're down, you still have work to do. So I said that to make sure that the narrative begins to shift from I'm healed to I'm still in my process and I'm a work in process, right? So in progress.
Wow. Man, that's deep. That's deep, brother. Listen, that's deep. I just love that. And I love the perspective of healing being a continual journey, of healing being a process, because you're absolutely right. You know, we put an expiration date on our healing many times. We put an expiration date on our healing many times. And so the fact that you're here to just clarify that, that's what we do here at Historically Black Sense, y'all. We bring just the best. We're going to bring you the information, the inspiration, the transformation, the restoration, the revelation, the motivation. But Liz, you got to do the implementation. I know you learned a lot from Dr. Joe. I know you learned a lot from Dr. Joe. So now it's up to you. When you get this great information, you got to do some implementation. You got to go do some work. And that's why before we get out of here tonight, you're going to know that you can sign up. You can sign up for his next healing seminar, and you can walk into 2022, right, on your journey towards your own healing. So look, brother, why are Black men so hesitant to show their emotions, man? Come on, brother. Why are we so hesitant to show our emotions? I need you to break that down and talk to him tonight.
So once again, let's go, to history and what's been done to Black men, right? How Black men have been treated, right? How we've been beat, not just physically, but mentally, right? And so there comes a point in our lives where we almost have a stone cold heart at times, right? And now we have to figure out how to break that so that we can live the fullest life that we deserve and that we've been put on this earth to live. And so, as I think about just my journey and some other, even my boys, some other Black men that I've been around for years, we just started saying, I love you, because it was uncomfortable when we were younger, right? One of the things that I respect about my father is that he's always said, I love you, always, right? One of the things that I respect and I love about Brother Keith here, right, my big bro, is that from the first time that I met him, it was nothing but love. No fakeness, no talking behind your back. It was just, yo, this is what we're doing, what you need. Hey. And we have to remember that we have to show our young Black men how to show love, right? Now, when it comes to the emotions and it comes to all of that, that's also a learned behavior. And if they don't see anybody doing that, what do we think they're going to do? Because they're in a world that's telling them that they have to be hard and they have to be able to figure things out, so they can't show emotion. However, when they get around men who are versatile, like me and yourself, right? When they get around folks who are chameleons, right? We know how to navigate. We can go to the so-called hood, but remember, the hood is not a place. It's a state of mind. That's why you have people that leave the hood and have the same issues. But when we have people that go to the so-called hood, we can operate there and get with our people. And we can go in places where there are people who are billionaires, millionaires, right? Business folks, white folks probably, and we could talk business with them, but we're chameleons. And being able to be a chameleon and able to adapt, and when we allow people to see us, show our emotions, we allow people to hear us. Our narrative isn't don't cry. Our narrative might be, you know what? It's okay to cry, but sometimes you don't have to cry about everything. So changing everything that young Black boys see, we're going to shape the future. But right now, my generation, I'm just now learning to show my emotions because I've become comfortable with myself and I've done some healing, right? So if we don't do that, we'll always have the young Black men who don't want to show emotion because they feel like they're weak. But in reality, showing emotions and sharing your feelings makes you strong.
Man, I love that. Listen, I love what you just said. And as a generation ahead of you, I'm going to always be one to give that example of love. I'm going to always greet you with a hug. okay, with no agenda, merely just that love. I'm going to always speak life into you, and I think that's one of the things we don't get as black men. You know, Queen Lainey, and I hope I'm pronouncing it right, sister. This queen said that we got to continue as black men to heal, so that we are strong kings for the queens, and I love that. Lainey 822, she said healing is an ongoing process, but you have to start the process, do the work. It makes you king stronger. For us queens, we all have to do the work. Lainey 822, say it, quintessential queen. I love that. I love that. And so I'm of the not of the opinion. I'm going to say this. I strongly believe, even in my training and coaching in school districts across the country, across the world, just like you, that we must teach our boys how to express themselves. We must teach them, as you said, that crying is a human emotion. And so when we don't allow our black boys, you have black sons, you know, I got Keon, my black son, my promising prince, you know, who's working in legislative circles right now downtown, 26 years old, man. We still sit on the same couch and not just watching football. I'm talking about the couch of our therapist that we share, right? He cries on daddy, and guess what? Daddy cries on son, and my wife gives us that time. You understand, that time together where we're growing each other up. With your sons, my nephews, Keon is your nephew. It's the same thing of how you're raising your sons, and they're so brilliant and bold and loving, and we got to teach our boys that that's human, but we have to teach the adults, brother, that crying is a human emotion. And you're right. When we teach our black boys to keep everything bottled up, when it finally comes out, it's going to come out the wrong way. It's going to come out the wrong way. And so I just want all of those who are listening tonight, listen, when you teach black boys that they cannot show emotions, guess what? That's called dehumanization. You are dehumanizing them. You are turning human beings into animals. And since Lainey just said that, brother, the sister's about to be upset with me, but I'm going to say it. Listen, sisters, if you have a king in your life like a Dr. Joe or Uncle Keith and other powerful black men of purpose, listen, don't make these black men have to isolate themselves and not be able to show emotions in front of you. Let me say, I'm gonna say that again. Don't put your king in a position where he can't show an emotional side around you. Because a lot of times, you know, when black men cry, the narrative that I hear a lot of times, Brother Joe, is that they can't even cry at home because their significant others sees them as weak when they cry at home, or when they get too emotional, you know, that's not seen as manly. And once again, we know that goes back to slavery, but we got to get rid of that mentality as well, because a lot of times women will say, well, I want a man who's sensitive. I want someone who will communicate and who's caring. But when he shows that, you understand, then he is ostracized and emasculated. And so we got to be very careful about that as well. So I'm calling on black women out there, all right, who are loving on black men right here on Historically Black Sense, the premier platform for everything HBCU. I'm calling on you to love these brothers through that, because I know Dr. Joe can cry on his queen's lap. I know that I can do the same. And so as black men, we have to have a safe space where we can cry. And guess what? I can cry on Dr. Joe's lap as well, and he can cry on mine. And he talked about the brothers he hangs with. I have a core group of brothers. I can cry with them. I can share my deepest, darkest fears. Anytime I'm around them, I'm in a safe place. So to the black men on the platform listening right now, make certain that you surround yourself with some black men who you can be emotional with, who you can be vulnerable with, who will not ostracize you and ridicule you when you show emotions, because that's a part of healing as well. What say you, bro?
You know, let me say this, man, because I was reading something today. A former football star at the University of Central Florida, Otis Anderson Jr., was shot and killed by his father, Otis Anderson Sr., over an argument. That right there shows you that the father had a lot of internal, whatever it was, built up, and it came out on his own son. If that don't tell you right now that we have a lot of work to do as black men, right? Quit holding this stuff in, right? Because I tell people all the time, I can cry and give you these hands at the same time if necessary. Right? I don't want to do that, but I'm not weak. But I'm
That's
learning
right.
to show my emotions. I'm learning to be transparent. I'm learning to be open. But I don't ever want to read another article where a Black father shoots and kills his Black son over an argument.
Yeah, man.
We got work to do. And that's why workwithdrjoe.com is critical. So you can
Talk to
attend
me.
the Heal Now Masterclass. The last one is this Saturday, December 4th, 1 p.m. Eastern time, right? Heal Now Masterclass. Just go to www.workwithdrjoe.com to gain access.
You got to gain access. Let me tell you something. I always tell people that, you know, our Black and brown babies will always compete with any race because, you know, we serve everybody. We serve white children and Latino children and Asian Americans, Native Americans, Pacific Islanders. Dr. Joe, we serve everybody, right? But one of the things we have to understand that is our Black and brown babies can compete with anyone if they have access and exposure. Did you hear what I just said, y'all?
Yep.
Access and exposure. We that word equity is big for us, but they have to have access and exposure. And you want access to unlocking and unleashing your purpose and being on the road to healing, you got to go to the website. You got to go to that healing masterclass. I'm begging you. Listen, and what's the cost? Well, let me say this. There is no cost, but there is an investment. Boom! Let me say that again. Let me say that again. Let me say that again. There is no cost, but there is an investment. And the reason there is no cost, because cost implies that you get nothing in return. Yeah. But there is an investment, and you will get so much in return that will elevate you and your family going into the new year. I think that is so very important that we start healing by investing in ourselves, because for so many years we've been investing in others and in everything else. You know, I remember telling my niece, man, she saw this mannequin, brother, and she was having, my niece was having some issues, and she saw this mannequin in the store, and she said, how you like that outfit, Uncle Keith? How you like that outfit on the mannequin? Like, I would love to have that. And I was like, take a good look at the mannequin, you know, and I told her, I said, yeah, do you understand that the mannequin has the perfect body? Do you understand that the mannequin has the perfect shape? But there's one thing about the mannequin. The mannequin is good to look at, but has no value. Yeah. The mannequin, brother, is good to look at, but it has no value. I don't want our brothers and sisters just to be good to look at, but they have no value. Do you understand? I don't want them to be defined by what's on their behind, right? I don't want them to be defined by that. So everything that you're teaching, man, and you're not just dropping nuggets, you're dropping knowledge tonight. And that Otis Anderson story, man, that is so deep, because it immediately took me back to Marvin Gaye and his father. You know, Marvin Gaye was murdered by his father. And so, like you said, when I can even imagine, I barely wanted to lift a hand to my son, okay, while he was growing up, and I can't even fathom lifting a gun. I can't even fathom how angry I would have to be. Right. To kill my own son. I can't even fathom that. So you're right. We have a lot of work to do. And there's so much, man. If we could just have healing in the land, I mean, we would exceed the expected professionally and personally. A lot of times we fall short professionally because there's so much unhealed trauma on the inside. You want to speak to that?
Yeah, I mean, you know, so part of what I hear you saying as I'm listening and I'm processing is this word accountability. Because a lot of times what so many of us do, I've done it myself, right? So I'm not here talking about everybody else as though I'm great, right? No. I'm talking about me too, right? But there are so many people who don't take accountability, right? And what I mean by that is they know that there is something going on with them. They know that they have a quick temper. They know that they're not connecting with others. And if something happens over and over and over again, it's time for us to address it, right? If you hear from people around you, man, you got an attitude. Why are you always treating people like that? If you're hearing certain things over and over and over, you need to address it, because a lot of us, what we like to do is we like to blame everybody else. It comes a point where we have to take accountability, because in reality, being accountable, see, when you're accountable, let me just say it like this. learning to be accountable is directly connected to your accounts receivable, right? Some of us are broke because we're broken and we haven't been accountable. It's going to be important for us to be accountable and say, you know what? I can't just pray about it. I have to pray and go get me a therapist, right? Some of us think it's either or. It's both. At least that's how I operate. But I want us to understand the power of being accountable. And it's okay to have people that's going to keep it 100, which everybody want to talk about. Yeah, keep it 100. Let's be real. Let's keep it real. But when somebody keeps it real with you, when they're 100 with you, you get offended. You got to have people that are not yes people. You got to have people that are going to tell you when your stuff stink, because a lot of us, our stuff stink, but we can't smell it because it's us, right? So get people around you that's going to share the real with you and then be accountable for the work that you need to do. And that's why healing is so important.
Man, listen, you know, I know there's a glare, but I had to put my glasses on, brother, because I just had to enhance my vision. You just enhanced my vision. So I had to put my glasses on, Doc, okay, because you just enhanced my vision. And I love when you said, you know, we think our stuff don't stink because it's us. And we've been there, right? As long as you're in the environment, you smell nothing. But when you leave the environment and you go back, you realize, right? That guess what? Just like everybody else, you have issues. But I like to say we all flawed and favored, man. I'm flawed and I'm favored, right? I'm flawed. That means I make mistakes. That means my skeletons have skeletons. That's why I don't get dressed in the closet, Joe. That's why I don't get dressed in the closet, man, because I'm afraid some of my skeletons might come running out. So I don't even get dressed in the closet. And you know what? I'm famous for saying, man, I'm not what I ought to be, but I'm not what I used to be, and I'm getting better and better every day. And I thank the Creator for that, man. For creating me and putting that in me, man. But what you just said was so powerful when it comes to accountability. I call it driving the car. You got to have credibility, accountability, and responsibility, right? You driving that car, credibility, accountability, and responsibility. But I need you to give us that quote again. You said accountability is connect, because I got to get this, because there are a lot of HBCU scholars out there. We got scholars from PWIs. And for those of you who are not familiar with the term PWI, that's a predominantly white institution where I serve a lot of scholars. Shout out to all of my PWIs as well. Guess what? Uncle Keith will see you soon. Dr. Joe will see you soon. Historically Black Sense will see you soon. So if you are PWI and you want a platform like Historically Black Sense to come to your campus, we'll be there, because we don't discriminate, but we are unapologetically Black, unapologetically beautiful, unapologetically brilliant, unapologetically beloved, and we are accountable for our Black excellence. Did you hear that? We are accountable for our Black excellence, and it's not an anomaly, okay? All right? It's not an anomaly, okay? It's not the exception. Black excellence is the rule. Watch what Dr. Joe does. He's about to change your life with this quote. Y'all better hashtag this or write this quote down. Dr. Joe, give him that quote again, brother, because listen, bro, that was deep. Give him the quote again.
So listen, your ability to be accountable is critical, right? So your ability to be accountable is directly connected to your accounts receivable. There you go.
Oh, my God. So your accountability, man, is directly connected to your accounts receivable. So if you broke, busted, and disgusted, you need to check your accountability meter.
That's right.
Maybe you're not depositing accountability, and that's why you can't withdraw nothing. That's why your PIN number don't work. That's why your PIN number don't work, because you got to be accountable. Man, when I think about the word heal, man, you gave me something tonight. So heal is like HEAL. Y'all write this down. Humbly experiencing a lesson. Y'all write that down. Humbly experiencing a lesson. Heal. And if you add the ing, humbly experiencing a lesson, infinitely now growing, right? Infinitely now growing. You know, I'm a former special ed student, so if I spell anything wrong, y'all just, charge it to my head and not my heart. You know how we say in the Black church, we be messing up a lot. We be like, charge it to the head and not the heart, right? Wow. But accountability, man, I just want to say that I'm so thankful for that word accountability, because we have to be accountable as a people.
Yep.
We have to be accountable to each other. We're keeping the Arbery family lifted right now, man.
Mm-hmm.
Because, let me say this, how deep white privilege is in this country. And if you don't know the term, y'all look it up, because, of course, you got to do some research. But let me tell you how deep white privilege is in this country, right? And even all of my white clients that I serve, they understand this too. And many of them don't, but we're going to help them to overstand, okay? Not understand, but to overstand. But white privilege is so deep in this country that the gentleman who was with those two thugs who killed Ahmaud Arbery, the friend who was just riding along, white privilege is so deep in this country that he recorded everything. You know how deep white privilege? He actually believed in his mind that he could record everything, turn it over, and nothing would happen. That's how deep white privilege is in this country. And I tell you this, a lot of times, especially for my young black males, you won't have the same love and empathy that Rittenhouse had in Wisconsin, correct?
That's
very
true.
Come on now, when that judge set the tone, and when he saw Kyle Rittenhouse, he saw his grandson.
Shit.
Do you understand? And so there was some empathy there. There was some empathy there from the beginning that set the tone for a not guilty verdict. So I want to ask you a question as it relates to our young black boys, your sons and my son, who's a young black man at the age of 26 right now. What role does perception play in terms of how, we are seen in society? What role does perception play? Because I know that has a lot to do with healing as well, man. If you're like me, there are times, man, when I used to get on the elevator and I would elevate my vocabulary for the white passengers on the elevator just to show them that I was intelligent.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now to have to walk around like that. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah. I'm from Milwaukee originally, and that's about 30 minutes from where all of that went down. With Rittenhouse, I believe his name is, which it's I kind of knew what was getting ready to happen. And before I share this, I also want to say right now I live about 30 minutes from Oxford High School, right? So definitely, sending blessings, prayer to all of those families there. But let me say this about perception, because I share this all the time. My sons, I have a 9-year-old and a soon-to-be 7-year-old next week. And I think about the fact that my great-grandfather was dealing with police and just the world, right? My grandfather was dealing with law enforcement in the world. My father dealt with it. I dealt with it. And now my sons are still seeing it. Now, whether they do what they're supposed to do or not, what we've seen is that some of our black brothers have been shot and killed doing the right thing. And maybe some will say they were doing the wrong thing. I don't know, however you view it. But the reality is this: we have to understand the game that we play in. And the game that we're playing in is called life. And the game that we're also playing in is in the United States. Therefore, racism is real. Sexism is real, right? Homophobia is real. All of these isms, right? They're real. And if you don't know how to navigate, right? Because they always tell you in school, you can be and do whatever you want to do. And I say, no, you can't. You can be and do whatever you want to do if you understand the game that you're trying to play in. So part of the game is knowing how to be a chameleon and how to adapt. I'm not saying you be something different, but how do you adapt to your environments, right? How do you learn cultural capital, social capital, right? How do you navigate spaces that you're not familiar with? And so with that said, sometimes you're going to have to be quiet when you want to say something. Sometimes you're going to have to wear that suit when you really don't want to wear a suit. Sometimes you're just going to have to do things, not saying that you're being fake, but you're knowing how to operate in the system and in the world that you're playing in. So perception is everything, and you don't want people to perceive you as something that you're not, even though as black men, I believe it's going to happen no matter what.
Absolutely, brother. That's, man, we are keeping it 1,000, not just 100, because a part of the healing is that as black parents, we don't go to sleep until we know our son is safe at home in bed.
Yeah.
Right. And my son is 26. Your baby's 9 and 6, about to be 7. Right. Yeah. And so there's still the phone calls we expect. Keon, call us when you're on your way to work. Keon, text us when you arrive. Keon, when you get in the parking garage, text us again. Keon, on your way home, you might get a call from your mom. We don't breathe. Listen to what I'm saying? We don't breathe until the front door is being opened and our baby, who's quote unquote a man, but he's home. And I will say this, a part of that healing for me is, as you are transparent with your own sons, Black fathers, let me be real with you tonight. Every 3 months since Keon was a little boy, I asked him, what type of father am I? Every 3 months. And sometimes I liked the answer and sometimes I didn't, but I committed myself because a part of my healing is growing up with 2 dads, right? You know, the 2 dad syndrome, 2 fathers, 2 mothers, brothers and sisters on both sides. And lost one of my dads in February, God rest his soul. And I have another dad who's 80 years old now. And so I understood that whatever happened with my 2 dads, I loved them both. And here's the thing. I couldn't hold on to a lot of bitterness because I knew that would block my love for my son. Yeah. Holding on to any type of bitterness, and holding on and just being bitter for whatever reason, right? I just believe and I know that would have blocked my love or minimized my love for my son, thus hurting my healing any further. Can you speak to letting go some of the, not necessarily forgetting, right? That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying, when I say forgive, I'm not saying, all right, you know, you abused me all my life and I'm gonna forgive you and I'm gonna just forget about everything and everything is cotton candy. That's not what I'm saying. Because I want to say this, I understand that blood is thicker than water, Brother Joe. Blood is thicker than water, but sometimes blood clots, but water flows. Yeah. Sometimes blood clots, but water flows. Brother, I got some blood right now, and you're my water. You're not my blood. You're the water in my life, but you're closer to me than some of my blood. Because those individuals have chosen to be blood clots. Yeah. Okay, not blood, but blood clots. And all relatives ain't family. So I know how personal this is for you, brother. So before we go tonight, you got to speak to that because I believe that will help individuals unleash their purpose and be on the journey to healing. Speak to that.
Yeah. You know, I was on my IG and I'm always on Instagram at Joe Johnson Speaks. I'm always posting things. And I ran across a quote that said, whenever you think about it again, forgive again. Right? Because you know how it is. We say we forgive and then we think about it again and we get mad. But whenever you think about it, forgive again. And we've had that message of forgiveness for a long, long time. And it's critical to our development. But what we forget about forgiveness is that some of us, we verbalize forgiveness, but internally we haven't. Therefore, not only should you forgive, but you should release. And in my Heal Now Masterclass, I walk people through a process of releasing. Because if you keep things in, right, even though you might verbalize, I forgive you, or I forgive them, or I forgive whatever went on, but it's still here and you haven't released it, it's going to impact you, right? So what I want you to think about and ask yourself right now is a major question that many of us don't ask ourselves is, what have you been lying to yourself about? And some of us been lying, saying that we've forgiven somebody, or some of us been lying, saying we let it go, but we really haven't. So in order for you to heal the way that you need to, you got to not only forgive, but release.
I just inhaled and I exhaled, man. I just inhaled and I exhaled. Not only, you said every time you think about it, forgive again.
Yep.
That's deep, man. Look, you need to put that on a t-shirt, man. Every time, because I see the hat, right? Purpose, right? Purpose over dreams.
Yep, purpose over dreams.
Purpose over dreams, y'all. Guess what? Because I'm telling you, if y'all dreaming too long, you need to wake up. You talk about you woke. You woke. Now you ain't woke because you still dreaming. And if you don't do the work, you daydreaming, right? You daydreaming. So I love what you said, man. That Every time you think that was a word for me tonight as the host. Listen, y'all, it only happens here at Historically Black Sense, the premier platform for everything HBCU, HBCU culture, the Divine Nine, the Me Fi Me, the history of our people, the African diaspora, the African American diaspora. You go to Historically Black Sense on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all social media platforms, and you will learn. So you need to be following Historically Black Sense, and you need to tune in every Wednesday, 8 p.m. for Uncle Keith's Corner, where we bring guests like Dr. Joe, who's going to help you with your healing. He said, every time you think about it, forgive again. Man, that is so deep. That is so, but that goes back to accountability, because now you've given us the knowledge. Now you've given us the revelation and the restoration and the transformation. And so now we got to do the implementation in order to heal, Doc. Before we could say, well, I don't know, because Dr. Joe didn't say that. He didn't say nothing about that. But guess what? He said it. So now that you know better, you understand, you got to not only do better, but you got to continuously program yourself to not only do better, but to be better, better. Listen, before we go tonight, I need y'all to look in the mirror, and I want you to say this. Listen, I want y'all to look in a mirror, and I want you to say the following. I want you to say your name, and then I want you to say, I can't wait for you to meet the person you're about to become. Before we leave tonight, or as soon as we're done, I want you, because Dr. Joe is traveling. He got to get out of here. I got to get out of here, man. But I just love this brother so much. I could do this with him all night long. You understand? But listen, you say your name, and then I want you to say the following, this affirmation. I can't wait for you to meet the person you're about to become. I can't wait for you to meet the person you're about to become, because that means you're ever growing, you're ever glowing, and you're ever going, and you can start forgiving yourself, and you can start releasing, and you are naming, claiming, and framing your healing, and you are naming, claiming, and framing that you are going to be much better now and in the future than you were back then. Name it, claim it, and frame it. I can't wait for you to meet the person you're about to become. Dr. Joe, give us your social media and your website. Again, listen, y'all, December 4th is the last masterclass of 202 WON, or 2020 WON, right? 2021. It's the last masterclass of the year, December 4th, y'all. You need to invest, because a lot of y'all gonna run out here and be shopping and getting these gifts. Ain't nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong with that. You're gonna wrap it up and it's gonna be like wrapping paper. But I'm gonna tell you this, that wrapping paper looks beautiful. And that's what we running around here today. We running around here looking like wrapping paper. We look beautiful in our different colors, our blues and our reds and our purples and our greens and our yellows, and we just look so wonderful. But just like that wrapping paper, until we take all that wrapping paper off and realize the gift is on the inside. So everything else is wrapping paper. So you got to get to this masterclass on December 4th. He's going to give you more information. He's going to give you all of his social media. And y'all know y'all can follow me on Instagram at Keith L. Brown what _. Keith L. Brown what _ Facebook, Mr. I Am Possible, and Twitter, Keith L. Brown 1911. Shout out to the brothers of Omega Psi Phi every day, all day. Because, brother, we need some healing too, bros. I know y'all learned a lot. We need some healing too. So, bro, give them all of your social media platforms and some final words, brother, that can help them to not only unleash their purpose, but get on the journey towards being healed.
Yeah, so the number one place I want you to go is www.workwithdrjoe.com. www.workwithdrjoe.com. I'm always on Instagram at Joe Johnson Speaks, at JoeJohnsonspeaks. But let me just say this, and this is my final words, because a lot of us have been taught to position ourselves for opportunities, which is real. When you really begin to do the work, you realize that there's a prerequisite to positioning yourself for an opportunity. And first, you must position yourself to deserve an opportunity. Because if you don't position yourself to deserve it by doing the work on yourself, if you do get it, you won't keep it. So remember, position yourself first to deserve what it is that you desire by doing the work on yourself. Because if you don't, you may get a little money here and there. You may get an opportunity here and there, but you can't keep it. And that's why you get a lot of folks who win the lottery, but they don't keep that money. Or you get a lot of folks who might get a position that they've been asking for and wanting, but they weren't ready for it because they didn't work on themselves. So with that said, like TD Jakes always says, I love this. You can't be who you used to be and who you're going to be at the same time. I'm Dr. Joe Johnson. Pursue your purpose, not your dreams. Take care.
Oh, brother. Hey, brother, do you feel this hug, brother? Do you feel
give me some? Give me that love. Give me that love.
I'm giving you that love, brother. I love you, brother. I love you. I love your family. I love your purpose, and I love your position and how you are positioning yourself in the midst of the opposition. You understand? Because I did that in my book, Talk is Expensive, man. I said in the midst of the opposition, there's a word called position. And you just talked about you got to deserve the position, but you got to position yourself to get the position. Look, that's man, right. I feel even more free-ish from a holistic perspective. Guess what, y'all? Look, no more change, y'all. Y'all see this? No more change, baby. That's right. We're breaking the chains tonight on Historically Black Sense with Dr. Justified Jubilant Joe Johnson. Y'all need to sign up for the masterclass. There it is. Turn it up. There it is, brother.
Listen.
I love this. Give us that. Give us that.
Y'all. This is my 4 P's. You are a product of the people you place in your presence. Right? Stop being around folks who you know you shouldn't be around. Some of y'all know you probably shouldn't be dating the person you're dating, but because the is good, you still with them, right? Because they got some money, you still with them. Let me tell you something. You are a product of the people you place in your presence.
Wow. Doc, that's why this brother and I tour around the world individually and sometimes together. That's why we're going to be headlining at the National Youth Advocacy and Resilience Conference, March 6th through the 9th, 2022. With a lot of our other brothers and sisters. Shout out to brothers like Hotep and Dr. Lamar. You understand? And just other brothers and sisters we love. Shout out to Breonna Taylor's family as well. We love, that sister and her memory, man. And we're still not done with that, right? And Sandra Bland and so many sisters. Because guess what? While we do a lot of focus on the Black men, we definitely love our quintessential queens here at Historically Black Sense. Because guess what? Joe and I evolved from the womb. Do you understand? We evolved from the womb. And so we know we can't do it without the presence of the womb, from the womb to the tomb. And we keep our mothers lifted. Both of my mothers, one who is going through a healing right now, the other one who's battling Alzheimer's. But it's something about Black women and Black mothers, and my wife and my, just so many, my little sisters, my niece, just love. And that's what we got tonight here at Historically Black Sense. Listen. I asked you a question when we started. What's stealing your healing? Dr. Joe just gave you a plethora of knowledge that you should be able to answer that question now. You couldn't answer it at the beginning. What's stealing your healing? But after hearing this brother, guess what? I know you have the answer. Lani, we love you. She said, thank you, Kings. We love you. We love you so much, sister. My significant sister, we love you. Listen, and Dr. Joe will come to your school district, your college or university, your government agency, your family advocacy agency, your entertainment platform, or corporate America. This brother will definitely come. Now, there is an investment. There's an investment because they say talk is cheap. No, talk is expensive. Let me just be real with y'all, okay? And when you ask, well, Dr. Joe, how much you charge an hour? Well, Uncle Keith, how much do you charge an hour? I'm going to tell you what our brother Les Brown says, our king in this industry, right? Okay, our king coach in this industry. We do not get paid by the hour. Right. We get paid by the value we bring to the hour. Right. Do you understand? We do not get paid by the hour. We get paid by the value we bring to the hour. And you need to go and tell your supervisor that, but you got to elevate your work ethic, like Dr. Joe said, and your accountability, and you get that promotion as well. So listen, book this brother. Get to that healing masterclass. It's the last one. I want to shout out again our visionary and founder, advocating ascending, Adrena Martin. She is so awesome behind the scenes. She is so awesome. Shout out to her and Tuskegee University, and shout out to the great Savannah State University, my alma mater. Like Dr. Joe said, he went to a PWI, but he was a part of the Black Student Union as well. So, you feel me? Right? And his lovely queen is a graduate of Clark Atlanta University. Listen, we pray that you enjoyed tonight's show, not just for enjoyable sake, but for walking away like this. Walk away talking about him, but thinking about yourselves. Walking away talking about what you learned from Dr. Joe, but thinking about your purpose, thinking about your healing. It is the holiday season. Stay away from negative, toxic people. Don't leash your peace. Dr. Joe, man, I love you so much, brother. It's time that we've come to another end of another journey. Tell my nephew, happy birthday in advance. Much love to you all. This is Uncle Keith's Corner, right here on Historically Black Sense, the premier platform for everything HBCU. You had Dr. Joe in the building. He is no ordinary Joe. The J stands for justify. The O stands for optimistic. And the E stands for empowerment. And that's what you get with Dr. Joe. Keith L. Brown, Mr. Impossible. Uncle Keith is here. I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Y'all be empowered, not devoured. Yes! I'll see y'all next Wednesday, 8 p.m. Tune in. Historically Black Sense. Uncle Keith's Corner. Peace.